lady at the employment agency said for an assistant job in New York, you had to type 52 words per minute. I got an assistant job at CBS Publishing school textbooks in the advertising division. The managers there were crazy ex-school teachers, and the offices on Madison Avenue had plastic walls and no windows. This white man wanted to have an affair with me. He stood in front of my desk adjusting his watch. I said nothing. I knew what he was doing. He was trying to set me up. If I said hi or hello, he would run back to his wife and say, she pursued me. I'm the victim. I liked him because he told jokes during the staff meetings. So I just stared at him in silence at 6 o'clock p.m. as he stood next to me adjusting his watch. The only good part about CBS Publishing was you could call Jamaica for free, one of the secretaries told me, and no one would notice. I left CBS Publishing after 1 year and went to Black Enterprise Magazine. The owner of the magazine told me I was doing a good job, but I had to go. Life was short. The editor had a TV in her office, and we watched the O-rings blow up the space shuttle. My first boss was a blonde British lesbian. She was the head of advertising. I would answer her phone. I would type her memos and deliver them by hand to the product managers. I would call the warehouse and speak with Honey, our warehouse worker, who sent the brochures for our sales team. I kept a file of each ad and brochure. One day there was a big shakeup. Our division had a new head, a young, all-American, a girl boss, pro-hierarchy, capitalism feminist. She had big shoulder pads and spoke in corporate lingo. During my lunch break, I wrote a poem about her. Later, I shared it with the managers. It was a poem about an annoying superhero who wore heels and had the same first name as our new division boss. She spoke in business phrases and put people to sleep at staff meetings. A week later, my boss informed me I was fired. Why? Oh man, I was going to have to replace my salary of $12,000 a year. Well, I left. I found a long-term temp job elsewhere. After I left, the meeting manager called me, a brown-haired Connecticut lesbian with a cow skull in her office, who ran the annual conferences of my former job, and she did summer charity work at Native American reservations. She told me my British boss had finally replaced me. They hired 2 girls to replace me, 2 girls to do my old job, both corporate and both white. I just found out he's married, I said. I sat down in her office, wiped my eyes, and blew my nose into a tissue. I used to let men break my heart all the time, she said. I was soft, but now I'm a bitch and you need to be a bitch too. He says he wants to come over to talk, I said. Should I let him come over to talk? No, she said. Don't see him. In fact, see anybody but him. Date every man on earth but him. Every guy in America. Well, I did what she said and it started working. Ever since I started dating other people, I told her, he's been calling me more and more, saying he's thinking about getting a divorce. See, she said, lighting a cigarette. He's shitting. He's shitting himself. He's losing it. He's lost it. She pointed her cigarette at me. You have to pull back from guys like that. They like young girls that they can railroad. The more you pull back, the more he'll lose his shit. I sat up in my chair. Why didn't he just tell me he was married in the first place, I said. No, she said, if he told you he was married, you'd treat him like a brother and he wouldn't get to bang you. She flicked her cigarette into her ashtray. With a guy like that, you can only go into it for fun, not with hopes of a future. Don't bring your heart. If I don't bring my heart, what's the point? I told her. Exactly, she said. Listen, this is the 1980s. You can't date with your heart. You got to date with your brain. Heart comes after the wedding. He still called me after that. But as time went on, I didn't care about him as much. I lost interest in him and his excuses. I got sick of his game. One of the female editors was prim and proper. She tiptoed over to my desk, looking like she wanted to share some juicy gossip. She leaned over. Did you hear? She said. She said one of the male editors was going to be on TV, on a TV talk show like Oprah or something. This male editor was going to be on TV with his pregnant girlfriend to talk about pregnancy over 30, but he wasn't even divorced from his first wife. She ran and turned on the television in the empty managing editor's office. The managing editor was having a baby or something. She was out. We stood in front of the television. A couple other people came in. One was a petite lady editor from Jamaica. She started calling the male editor baby daddy. For some reason, this cracked me up. But the topic of marriage was serious to me. It was of great interest. I planned on marrying Eddie Murphy. On Oprah, he said he was interested in black women. Eddie Murphy wasn't going to marry me. He was going to marry somebody spectacular like Whitney Houston. The phone rang on my desk, and I ran to answer it. The publisher of the magazine, Earl Graves, wanted to see me in his office. Why did he want to talk to me? I was just a long-term temp. I went to his office, and his secretary told me I could go inside. I opened the door and walked into the soft, natural light interior of high-end luxury. Was I in heaven? Was I going to talk to God, or was I going to talk to a publisher? I made the long walk to his desk, and he looked just like his picture. He had sideburns. When I got there, he handed me an envelope. It was a card he got from a subscriber. The subscriber said I was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I had given excellent service. I remembered her. She was kind of rude, but she was only rude because she was in desperate need of getting her answer to her question. When I hung up with her, I called the New York City Public Library reference desk, got her answer, and called her back with the answer. She told him I did an excellent job. At that moment, I should have asked Earl Graves for a job and a promotion. But that didn't come into my head. I didn't want a steady job and a good income. I was a Pisces. I wanted to wander some more. We Pisces like to be poor and weep. When I was working in New York, I met this guy. Let's call him Mr. Physical Fitness. Mr. Physical Fitness saw me on 6th Avenue at lunchtime. He started talking to me when we were waiting for the light to change from don't walk to walk. He had a strong body, not a bodybuilder body, a slim, strong body like a farmer, like a sharecropper. He could have been a sharecropper. He asked me if I wanted to come over. Mr. Physical Fitness didn't make any moves on me the first time I went to his apartment. He was obsessed with self-discipline. Mr. Physical Fitness was always doing calisthenics, push-ups, sit-ups, deep knee bends. He said it's very important to control your mind and your thoughts. He worked at Forbes Magazine. I worked at Black Enterprise. He told me the publisher of Forbes Magazine, Malcolm Forbes, was married, but he was gay and rode around with a gay motorcycle gang that wore leather-chained, studded outfits. I was invested in me and Mr. Physical Fitness's relationship. I wanted to be everything Mr. Physical Fitness wanted. I wanted to be a sex kitten, a sex tiger. I went to the store and bought me a black negligee. I went over to Mr. Physical Fitness' apartment and made an entrance into his bedroom in my black negligee. Mr. Physical Fitness was about to make a move. But then suddenly I went into a panic. Did I even really know this man? I just met him a few days ago. Who is he? Do I even like him? Should we be doing this so quick? I could not control my mind and my thoughts. I went to the bathroom. He asked me why I ran into the bathroom. I stood on the other side of the bathroom door. I'll be out in a minute, I said. Mr. Physical Fitness sighed. Why do all black women have problems? He asked me. Eventually, I opened the bathroom door and resumed the date. But I, like Malcolm Forbes, had a secret I was not willing to face. I was still in love with someone else. I was still in love with the preacher's son. I wanted to marry him. I didn't want to marry anybody else. Mr. Physical Fitness asked me if I could loan him $200. My love for Mr. Physical Fitness was fake, and his love for me was fake. But we went through all the motions. Okay, I said. I loaned him the money. But he didn't pay me back. And after that, we didn't speak. That's just my opinion.